you guys. Well, welcome to our Young Investor Society 2022 Stock Pitch Prep Night. Good to see all of you. We're going to go ahead and let people in as they arrive, but we're going to get started. And I just wanted to go over a few things with you tonight. One of them being stock pitch overviews of the reports, presentations, YouTube video submissions, along with some report guidelines. And then we'll go into what judges are looking for during your presentation. And then the rubric that they use to score your pitch. And then we have some of our previous winners of our global stock pitch competition that are going to be tips and tricks of what they did during their presentation and things to help you to be as successful as possible. So let's go ahead and get started. So focusing on stock pitch event overview, report presentations and submission guidelines, judging criteria, investment checklist, advice, suggestions, and tips, and then we'll do a question and answers at the end. So here's the overview. State and territory events, we have 28 different states and territories this year. 99% of them are going to be via YouTube video submission. We do have a couple that'll be either hosting their own live event or doing it via Zoom. So those are happening as well. Regional stock pitch events this year, we have 6. We have East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, as well as Asia, International, and our Access schools. Our global stock pitch competition will be in person this year in Salt Lake City, Utah on May 20th. We are going to be inviting the top 3 teams from the regionals to attend the in-person global stock pitch competition. It's actually May 19th and 20th because we do a dinner the night before to celebrate about our stock pitch report written guidelines. So as you know, the actual report no longer than 10 pages, but you may include an appendix, graphs, charts. So those things aren't included in the 10 page limit. Make sure on your first page, you have your first name, your last name, your partner, if you have one, as well as your school, state, or territory, your email address, and then we also, of course, need the company that you're pitching's name, their exchange or ticker symbol, what sector or industry they're in, your recommendation, whether it's a buy, sell, or hold, the current price, and then your target price. So make sure that you're only using publicly available information. Make sure that the information that you use is publicly available. So, you know, YouTube search or any of the Yahoo Finance searches or those kinds of things. Really want to make sure that you hit all of the sections. We have a business description, industry overview, investment summary, valuation and financial analysis, investment risks, and we added last year the ESG considerations. So of course, that's going to be part of it this year as well. So all of your stock pitch reports, presentations, and YouTube video links are due by April 4th, 2020. And I get a lot of questions about it because we say midnight on April 4th. As long as I have your materials by the time I wake up April 5th and check my computer, which is probably like 9 a.m. Pacific, you're fine. So know that as long as it's in before I start to go through all of them on April 5th. The next thing I have are some stock pitch presentation guidelines. So these are important because this is for your actual PowerPoint presentation. Of course, you can use Google Slides. Let's make sure there's some messages in the chat that I will go ahead and take as soon as I'm done with this, but for your presentations, no longer than about 15 slides. Make sure on the first slide, we have all of the basics, right? Your first name, last name, as well as your team member, school, state or territory, company name, exchange or ticker symbol, sector, industry, your recommendation of buy, sell, hold, current price, and your target price. All those things should be on your very, very, very first page. I would like to tell you to use bullet points of key information on your presentation and then elaborate on those in your actual pitch. No one wants to read all of your information on your slides because it gets pretty lengthy at times. So really just highlight bullet points and then go into the meat of your presentation, but use those bullet points as a guide. Use the slides as well as for your financial analysis information, your pie charts, your graphs, etc. Those are really great visuals. The judges really like to see that. Right, so a few more things on the actual submission guidelines. All of this is available on our website, just so you know. It's under Global Stock Pitch, and then there's also a Global Stock Pitch report that you can download as well. So if you can, make sure your stock pitch report, your presentation, and your YouTube video link is in one email. I can tell you the number of times that students will send me pieces, like one attachment in each email, and then they'll send me like, oh, I sent you the wrong one, here's the revised one. Try not to do that. It makes my job really, really difficult going over the 300 of them that we have coming in every year. So one email would be great. Make sure you save your stock pitch report as a PDF. That's also important. And make sure your last name, your school, your state and territory are on your actual report. And make sure that you don't have any permissions set up for any of your documents, because we're going to have lots of different judges go through all of your documents. So make sure you don't have any permissions set, because there's too many people to ask permission to see the document, and unfortunately we'll just end up moving your pitch to the side. So make sure there's no permissions. Stock pitch, PowerPoint presentation, same kind of thing. Make sure your presentation is in PowerPoint. Sometimes when we convert from Google Slides to PowerPoint, the formatting gets a little messed up. So if you can do it in PowerPoint, that would be great. Especially if you make it to regionals, because we will upload all of the documents ahead of time. And like I said, Google Slide doesn't really convert that great when we're using PowerPoint in the presentations. Again, no permissions set up for your presentation. And then the YouTube video links. So your YouTube video is basically you presenting your pitch. So it's pretend you're doing your stock pitch live in front of an audience. You can do it just like this on Zoom video and make sure it's recorded. You can also do it on your cell phone camera with your presentation in the background. However you want to do that is fine. Make sure your pitch is limited to 10 minutes. You will find that we will have a timer if you make it onto the regional competitions, and you will be cut off at the global event if you go over 10 minutes. So make sure that the 10-minute timeline is what you're trying to stick to. And then make sure your YouTube videos are also public. Again, I can't tell you how many times I've had students do a private YouTube video that expired before we could even get to the judging of it. So make sure you can view it from April 5th through May 20th, just to be sure. And then I want to make sure that you check it first. So the YouTube link that you send me, make sure it goes to your actual YouTube video. Because unfortunately, if it doesn't, if your submitted link doesn't work, you will be disqualified. So make sure that link works before you send it to me. And of course, last but not least, all of your stock pitch items go to stockpitch2022@yis.org. So that's a designated email address that we have that all of your reports, presentations, YouTube video links are going to be stored in. Here's a little bit about the judging criteria that we have for this year. It's actually exactly the same as last year. So if you competed in this event last year, you already know all of these. But we do 50 points for your investment idea. So this is your overall investment. Does the idea make sense? And does it follow sound investment principles that we teach in YIS? That's the biggest one. It's about 15 points. And then we go into, does the report show insight into the company and industry? Meaning, did you do your research? Do you know who the CEO of your company is? Do you know what their org structure looks like? That's 10 points. Does your report show sound financial analysis? Now, this is a big one. This is one of the meat and the biggest components is your financial valuation of the company and what your analysis is, your buy or sell recommendation. And then, of course, we also added ESG considerations. What do those look like? And if your company doesn't have any ESG considerations, please let us know that, because at least we know that you looked it up and that they aren't offering anything. And that's completely fine. You won't be dinged if your company that you pitch doesn't show any ESG considerations. We just want to make sure that you know what those are and you know what you're looking for. And then, of course, did the student follow the report guidelines, which is basically all of the submission guidelines that we just went over. And then your presentation, make sure your presentation highlights those key factors that you want to touch on. So company and industry, your financial analysis, and then make sure you include any charts, graphs, any kind of visual aids, videos, whatever that looks like for you. And then, of course, make sure you follow the guidelines as well. And then YouTube video links. This is to make sure that you have adequate knowledge about your company. So make sure that you know what you're talking about. Make sure that you're presenting clearly. I know for myself, sometimes I can speak really fast, and that doesn't really translate well to when you're pitching to an audience, especially if that's the only chance you get to speak to or to present to judges. Make sure you're presenting clearly. So make sure your audio is on point. And then was the presentation professional? You don't have to dress up for your presentation, but it actually looks really great if you do. So, you know, whatever that looks like, business casual for you would be great. And then make sure you kind of engage your audience in your presentation, and then make sure you follow all of the guidelines as well for YouTube. So I'm going to pitch it over to Tom Flannery, who's going to be giving you what he looks for in a stock pitch report that he reviews, as well as the presentation that you guys are presenting.
Hi guys, and I'll keep it really brief. So we'll talk about two different issues. The presentation itself. So all the judges are gonna assume you'll do the homework, the data will be there, the numbers will be there, the analysis will be there. In the presentation, the way you're actually giving the pitch is critically important. So I read somewhere there was a study that people generally would rather die than speak in public. And oftentimes that fear comes out when you're giving this kind of presentation. So what I would say is practice it over and over and over again. But it shouldn't be rote memorization. It should be like having a conversation on a topic that you're thoroughly versed in, like talking about baseball scores or the latest music that you listen to. So that way it runs really smoothly as you're relaying the information to the judging panel. So that would be the first bullet point. Second would be in the Q&A. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of kids get tripped up in the Q&A. What they oftentimes try and accomplish is they get asked a question, they're not really too sure what the answer is, and they try and fake it. And the judges can tell immediately when you're trying to fake it. So I will very, very point blankly say to you, don't fake it, say you don't know, take the judge's information down and tell them you'll come back to them with an answer. And that's it. I'll pass it back to you guys, and good luck to everybody.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Tom. I just wanted to go over, for those of you that are new, what Tom was meaning with the Q&A is that those who make it to the regional competitions do have a Q&A section after you present your report with the judges, and the judges will ask questions. And then, so Tom was saying, if you don't know the answer, say you don't know. Just say you don't know, it's perfectly fine. And so that's what he was referring to. So those of you who are just doing the state events, the first round, you guys don't have a Q&A section in the YouTube video. But if you do make it to the regionals and to the global, you will. So I'm going to hand it over to some of our stock pitch winners from the past few years. I believe I have Arjan. I'm not sure if I saw Abhinav, but we definitely have our 2020 Global Stock Pitch winners, as well as Utej and Shivam from last year's 2021 winners. So if Arjan and Abhinav are on, you guys can definitely unmute and share a little bit of what your experience has been and any advice that you would give to our contestants this year.
So try not to script it as much as you can, because I mean, you should treat it like the sales pitch, right? Like the judges are the buyers and you're selling the stock. And when you're reading it, it's really hard to have that kind of passion that you need to come across as convincing. And you definitely don't want to seem like a liar, which is possible through reading off a script. And I know Tom also mentioned this, or Mr. Flannery, but you don't want to read all the data that you have in your report, because I'm sure we've all listened to presentations that's just like a ton of numbers over and over and over, and it's really, really easy to lose your audience. So, keep it concise with what you say, but just make sure you have the data in your report. And same thing goes for if you chose a company in like a pretty niche industry, like the one that we pitched the year that we won was like a semiconductor manufacturing company. And it's really easy to get lost in the weeds when you're talking about something, so technical. So just make sure you're aware of that and that you're not becoming too hard to follow.
Perfect. Fantastic advice, Arjan. Utej and Shivam, do you guys have anything to add?
Sure, I'll start first. Hi, everyone. I'll keep my advice fairly simple. If you're not at the stage yet where like you've picked a company, I would personally suggest that you pick a stock or company that you're personally interested in and that you can actually understand their business. This is what Shivam and I used when we picked Salesforce last year. And we found that it was much easier to like create a comprehensive thesis and actually, lay down reasons when you actually understand their business model and what they do. And it's much easier to understand their growth prospects and future potential if you're actually familiar with the business. So that's what I'll leave with you guys.
Perfect. Shivam, did you have something?
Absolutely. I'll keep it short and sweet, but obviously all of the judges, they're going to know the technicalities most of the time. However, the biggest thing that I'd say is just go read your stock pitch or go present to somebody who maybe doesn't know all the technicalities. Maybe go to your parents, go to a friend, someone who's not as well versed in the stock field. And if they can still understand your perspective, if they are still convinced by what you're saying, then you know that you've hit every single market. You can attract someone who maybe doesn't know anything about stocks, but at the same time, you can attract somebody who knows a lot about stocks. And that's the biggest piece of advice that I could give.
Excellent job. Thanks you guys for mentoring our next global stock pitch winners. Now I'm going to give it to you guys for some questions and answers. I know I have a few in the chat so far, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. Let's see. It's fine if we use the stock pitch template, correct? We won't get docked for creativity. We highly suggest that you use the stock pitch template that's downloadable from our website. You basically download the template, type in over it all of your items, and that's pretty much the template that we would love for you to use. You do not have to recreate the wheel on the stock pitch template.
I have a question.
Sure.
So like the videos y'all posted, like they were recorded on like a Zoom meeting. Can we submit like a video like of me and my partner like together and we're like presenting like on a slideshow? Like we don't have to like be on a Zoom meeting. Like would y'all prefer that, or like which one would y'all prefer for the video?
Yeah, however there's no preference. If it's easier for you to do it on Zoom just like this, and then make sure it's recorded and then upload it to YouTube, you can absolutely do that. However it is easiest for you is fine for us. So whatever that looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Can you obtain partial credit? So the way it works is if you want me to go back to the judging criteria, I'll show you what that looks like. So these are the points. So partial credit would be 40 out of 50 points or 20 out of 25 points. So yes, you do get points in partial for all of the items, if that answers the question. Let's see. For the videos, does it have to be YouTube, or can you create a video file and submit it that way? We actually prefer YouTube. It's just much easier when we send out the links to all of the different judges to just have it be a YouTube link. Because some video files don't open correctly on certain people's computers, so we don't want to do just an MP4. We want it all on YouTube if possible. 15 slides in your PowerPoint. I would try to stick to, you know, as long as the basic information is there, as long as you have some really good information, try to condense it a little bit. Like I said, use bullet points. Don't type in all of the information into the slides, because that's what your presentation is for. Your presentation is to go into detail with the bullet points on your slides. So unless you're putting in charts and graphs and those kinds of things, you should really try and stick to the 15 slides in your PowerPoint. I made the presentation on Apple Keynote because I don't have a subscription in PowerPoint. When I convert it, there's some issues. This will be a problem. The judges only look at the presentation from the video I sent. So no, so the judges are going to be looking at your presentation separately, aside from the video that you upload. So you're gonna submit your stock pitch report and your presentation, and then you're also going to do the video that you're going through your presentation. I would suggest not doing it in Apple Keynote. I would suggest doing your presentation in PowerPoint and then saving the PDF, or in Google Slides and then saving it to PDF. Make sure that your presentation is able to be opened with someone who does not have a Mac. So basically, PDF works for most people, and so I would stick to that. Because the last thing you want is for a judge to not be able to open your presentation because you've sent it in the wrong file format. Template comes up weirdly. I'm assuming you're talking about the stock pitch report template. So basically what you want to do is you want to download that template from our website. And then once you download it, you can open it either using Adobe Acrobat, I believe. So it shouldn't be weird when you download it. Is it better if our report has graphics? Sure, relevant graphics. So like graphics that display your financials, your financial analysis, those kind of graphic charts, graphs are great. What is considered a high score? A high score would get probably the most amount of points. So like 50 points for your investment idea would be a high score, but probably anything over 40, I would consider a high score for the investment idea. Presentation, anything over 20, and the YouTube video, anything over 20, those would probably be your highest score. So 40, 50, 60, 70. So anything over an 80 would probably be considered a high score. Anything else? Do we know what score we got? That's a great question. The answer is no. Unfortunately, we have usually over 300 participants in our state stock pitch competitions, which is our first round, and we're unable to give you your individual scores back. Because we have usually anywhere from 4 to 6 judges looking at all of the different reports. And it's just kind of impossible for us to give you feedback on your state competition report or presentation. You will be able to get your results from the regionals. We will have some time for you to go over your regional competition events scores with the judges, but not for the state level. We are going to be, so everything's in by April 4th, and we're trying to make sure that all of the judges have a good week to score each and every one of the events. Like I said, I think we have 27 different state and territory events this year. So I'm hoping to have all of the results by the end of April. And I want to say because we have to be ready for the regional competitions, and those regional competitions are also at the end of April. So we need to make sure that everything gets out. The very first regional competition is the East Coast, and that's April 25th. So everyone that's going to be invited to the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and International will know before April 25th if you're selected. The Access Regionals and the Asia Regionals are the first week of May. So you will definitely know probably that third week of April if you've been selected to go on to the regional competitions. Will we get points marked off if the information from the PowerPoint is not covered in the report? On the same note, if we didn't explain something clearly in the report but did it in the PowerPoint presentation, will it be sufficient? That's a great question. So I would say you wouldn't get points marked off if information from the PowerPoint isn't covered in the report, but normally the way you build your presentation is off of your stock pitch report. Of course, you don't have to put everything in there, but highlighted items is fine. And then if you didn't explain something clearly in the report, but you did in the PowerPoint presentation, will it be sufficient? Yes, of course. What region does Colorado belong to? Great question. This year, I believe Colorado is part of the Midwest region. Like, what other states will be competing with? Is it on the website? So no, the regions aren't listed on the website because the regions change from year to year depending on how many states participate. So this year, it looks like the West Coast is going to be California, Oregon, Washington, and then we've adopted Hawaii and Alaska. And then the Midwest is Idaho, Montana, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, Arkansas, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Illinois. There's a lot of states in the Midwest. And then East Coast is Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Is there a penalty for a stock pitch report over a 10-page maximum? That's a great question. I wouldn't say that there's an actual penalty, but I would definitely try your hardest to keep it in that range. Of course, you know, 1 page over isn't going to be a big deal, but if you're 10 pages over, yeah, that's going to be excruciating for the judges to read through. So we have limits for a reason. Should our reports include a works cited? Yes, you can do a works cited, you can do an appendix, and that could be of infinite length. You don't have to worry about how many pages that adds on to your report. All right, it looks like we got all of the questions in the chat, unless you guys have anything else that comes in. How many people move on from each round? Fantastic question. So in our state and territory competitions, we're going to select the first place team for each state to go on to the regional competitions. Some states will have more than one team because we have more than 10 teams in that state. And I know right now, I believe California is one of them, and so is Texas. So those will have 2 teams represented in their regionals. And then from the regionals, we'll invite the top 3 teams from the regional competitions to join us at the Global Stock Pitch Competition in Salt Lake City, Utah on May 19th and 20th. For that event, we have, of course, the top 3 teams that are going to be invited. Each team will bring a parent or a chaperone with them to Utah. And then we also have a hotel room. So we cover your hotel room stay for 2 nights, but it's your responsibility to handle flights for those dates. Let's see, are we required a bibliography? So bibliography will be the same thing as an appendix, and you can definitely attach it. I don't believe it's part of the requirements. I don't believe you have to have it. It is optional. These different valuation methods, absolutely. So as many valuation methods as you would love to include is fine with us. So just to end, I want to make sure that everyone knows that we have added a really fantastic prize for our global stock pitch competition. So as you know, the winners of the global stock pitch competition, first place gets $5,000, and that's $3,000 cash, $2,000 in the stockpile gift card. Second place, I believe, is $3,000, and then the third place, I believe, is $1,000. And the way we're going to do this is that the first place winners of the global stock pitch competition also get a one month paid internship at Ethos Investment Management. And that is our founder, James Fletcher's new investment firm. And so he's going to be doing a 1 month paid internship for the winning team or individual of this year's stock pitch competition. So that's super exciting. And we love to be able to add that this year. All right, looks like I have no more questions in the chat. So I will go ahead and let you guys go. But thank you so much for making sure that all of the items that we shared in the presentation and the guidelines, make sure you have all of this down. It'll make your life super easy. It'll make my life super easy. So make sure that you have all of the things on your first page of your guidelines of your presentation and your stock pitch report. All right, thank you to Tom, who was here today to answer some questions about judging. And then thank you to our previous global stock pitch competition winners who gave you guys some tips and tricks for a better presentation. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.